Hey everyone, welcome to our Head Start Early Head Start pre-service of 2020. Being the guinea pig, and we are doing the first recording for our virtual pre-service this year. So hang tight. Hopefully we'll get through this all right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about attendance today, a little bit with family engagement. Some of this may be a little bit of a refresher for some of you, but we do have some new things that we are going to be doing this year in the era of COVID-19. So here we go. So what does it take for our families to get their children to us for preschool and for early Head Start? There's a lot of different things that are barriers for our families. They have a lot of different barriers for their children's academic achievement. It can be anything from disability and delay, or just difficulty in learning, lack of transportation, some health issues. They don't have a doctor, so maybe they don't have immunizations or a physical, so already they have a barrier with even getting started because they can't come to our program until they have those. Families have food insecurities, money issues. There's a lot of family issues, trauma and stress, all sorts of different things. But the great thing about Head Start and Early Head Start is our program is built to help families address these barriers and to help their children do better academically and be ready for kindergarten. So why are students absent? There's a lot of misperceptions about school. A lot of people think that absences only matter in school, like kindergarten through first, second, third, fourth, fifth grades. A lot of families think attendance problems aren't really problems if they have an excused reason not to be there. And families think that it's okay if their kid misses a day here or there. Some of the barriers we've talked about in the last slide, some health issues, unmet basic needs, trauma, negative school experiences. So sometimes there's some academic struggles, teasing, bullying, a poor school climate. And some of these are things that have happened to the parents. So the parents already have this conception of what school should be like because of what it was like for them. And it was a negative experience for some of them. Competing commitments. So our parents, a lot of them are working parents. They have varied schedules at their jobs. Makes it harder for them to get their children to and from school. Different family events, childcare is oftentimes a barrier, and different cultural expectations. There's also a lack of engagement. If parents don't have any meaningful relationships with any of the adults at school, they're not going to feel like they have to take their child every day. They're not going to think that it's that important. According to research, what do you think the most significant indicator for attendance is? Believe it or not, it's how the parents are greeted or welcomed by the program staff. Relationships are the most significant indicator of attendance for children at school. If you want to have the parents and the child think that attendance is important, then we need to teach it just like we teach words and walking and all those other things. Parent engagement is step one in the attendance process. Remember that parent engagement is an ongoing process and not a one-time event. I know a lot of times we in Head Start think that our parent engagement is our packed activities. And yes, that's part of parent engagement, but that's not all of what parent engagement is. All staff should greet children and parents with a warm hello. We should make positive comments to both the parents and the children when we see them. Making eye contact with parents and children is very important. It's even more important this year since we're going to be wearing masks and you can't see when somebody's smiling at you to say hi in the morning. Look for signs of stress in both children and parents and ask if they need help when they're coming to school. This year, we're going to have some different guidelines and things that they have to go through at the front door. So make sure that you're being pleasant and asking them if they need help and walking them through those new procedures. Don't assume that parents know what to do. Make sure you show them. And then thank them for bringing their child in that day, or thank them for calling in and keeping us in the loop about what's going on at home. It's our job to communicate with each other and with our parents. We need to teach parents that they can succeed. We need to teach them the importance of an early childhood education, even clear down into early Head Start. We need to teach parents about good attendance and classroom routines. We need to teach the importance of evening and morning routines so that life is less stressful for our parents and our children. We need to teach parents that they are their child's first and most important teacher. I know all of you are very good about telling parents that. We need to make our parents and children feel welcome at our sites, and we need to make them feel important. Talking with parents about attendance every chance you get. So at application appointment, the FDS are talking about attendance. At home visits, we're talking about attendance. In the hallway, which granted this year they're not in the buildings yet, but at drop off, at pickup, at parent teacher conferences, when they call in, all of those are opportunities to talk about the importance of attendance with families. Start with the positives. Talk about what their child does well. Where do you and the parent want the child to be at the end of this year? Explain that you have a plan to do in the future to help with their family and their child. Explain that good attendance makes this all possible. Research shows that parent engagement is key to improving attendance. What do parents have to say? According to parents, when school personnel initiate and engage in practices that welcome parents to school, honor their contributions, and connect them to the school community through an emphasis on the children, these practices cultivate and sustain respectful, caring, and meaningful relationships between parents and school staff. Recognize what you guys have to bring to the table when it comes to getting our parents to engage with their child in their learning process. Attendance matters. So research shows that preschoolers who miss 10% or more of their school year, whether it's excused or unexcused, arrive at kindergarten with lower levels of school readiness. If they are chronically absent for more than 1 year, they're less likely to be able to read proficiently by the end of 3rd grade. Why it matters. If children don't show up for school regularly, they miss out on fundamental reading and math skills and the chance to build a habit of good attendance for later on. Children from low-income families are more likely to be chronically absent and more likely to be affected by the lost instructional time. When do absences become a problem? So in public school, 10% or more of the school year for any reason. In Head Start, it's missing 15% or more of the school year for any reason. And that's where we get our 85% of attendance from our Head Start standards. So just looking at that, if a child's missing 1 day per week, over 13 years of school, they miss 2.5 years worth of instruction. 2 days per week is over 5 years of instruction. And 3 days per week is missing nearly 8 years of instruction. Chronic absences can go unnoticed. When you're looking at this, a child missed 2 days in September, 2 in October, 3 in November, 3 in December. Maybe in March they only missed 1. They missed 3 more in April, 1 in May. All of these absences are adding up. According to the Head Start breakdown, so in our duration and early Head Start classrooms, if a child is missing 18 out of 20 days for that month, they're already at 90% of attendance. If they miss 17 of the 20 days, they're at 85. If they miss any more than that, they're in a chronic absence situation. In our part day rooms, if a child misses 1 out of the 16 days of instruction for that month, they're at 93%. If they miss 2, they're at 88%. If they miss 3, they're at 81%. According to our Head Start standards, children must maintain an 85% attendance rate. When attendance drops below that, we must analyze the cause. Is it illness season? Are there program issues or concerns? These are all things that I look for when I'm doing my monthly report and checking attendance in all of your classrooms. That's also a reason why it's very important that you're putting in information in both drop-down sections on the attendance, putting in their attendance, whether they're absent, whether it's excused or unexcused, and then a second drop-down putting the reason. Also, according to the Head Start standards, when we're analyzing attendance, we have to come up with a plan of how we're going to help and intervene to correct these attendance issues. So looking at this slide on Tier 1, this is something that we do for everybody. It's low cost and it's universal for all of our children in our classrooms. We make it a positive environment. We have attendance celebration, daily, weekly, monthly. We convey the value of attendance to parents and children. We provide resources from Attendance Works, and we reinforce the attendance policy in the parent handbook. When you get to Tier 2, this is where children are missing 10 to 14% of their instruction time. This is a moderate risk. We do personal outreach, phone calls from the teachers and the FDS with additional resources about attendance provided for the family. We sometimes do attendance home visits or we have support meetings with the family. We complete an attendance issue form, which addresses barriers with the family, and we help problem solve together to find solutions for the attendance issues. In Tier 3, we have more supports offered. We'll have another support meeting. Families will get a letter from me and a review of the attendance policy and letting the parents know that they're at risk for losing their spot, but also letting them know what they're putting their child at risk for when they miss that much school at such an early age. So these are some refreshers from last year when we started doing more attendance celebrations. We want you to celebrate attendance. Here's just some ideas. Daily, giving a perfect attendance card at the end of the week for the perfect attendance. You could have a class attendance celebration when your class is all in attendance for that day. Weekly, you can give a perfect attendance certificate. Monthly, you can give an 85% certificate for all kids with an 85% or higher in that month. You can also have an attendance celebration for your class when you're above 85%. And quarterly, classrooms with 90% or above will get a special visit or a celebration party. Be creative in tracking all of your attendance in your classroom, and contact central office for approval to an attendance celebration party. These are just some pictures that I was able to snap when I was over at Madison last year. These are just some ways that different teachers were celebrating attendance outside of their classrooms. The middle picture here, there's an attend to win. It's kind of small in my photo here, but at Madison we had a boys bike and a girls bike donated last year, and then those were given out to children who had the highest attendance percentage for the year. Here's some ideas for your monthly and quarterly attendance celebrations. So special snacks, using juice to make popsicles or juice to make snow cones. Has to be something that is CACFP approved, but maybe something that's not on the menu, so it makes it special for the kids to have that for their party. Maybe they get extra gym time or outside time. Having themed ideas, water play, spray bottles, pajama day, dance party, crazy hair day. Maybe they can celebrate their favorite sports team, and maybe a parade. Probably not through the building during COVID. So you'll see a couple things on the right-hand side that are on hold due to COVID. But you could have a bowling party in your classroom, maybe an obstacle course. You could still do a kiss a pig or a snake or a goat, a pie in the face for Matt, something like that. Here are some of the things that we do to provide resources for families for attendance, just to follow up of some of the things that were on the tiered approach. A lot of resources are in Attendance Work website, so that's where this comes from. And then this as well, it's another thing from Attendance Works. And there's a lot of great printable resources that we can give out to families to let them know how important attendance even at early age is. So this is something new for our 1 hour attendance policy that we have. We are going to be documenting it in a different place this year. Child Plus has this awesome setup already, and we were not tracking it here, but this will allow us to be able to track it with more reports and make sure that we can prove that we're doing our 1 hour attendance follow-up. So you'll see here on Joey Spider-Man, step 1, you would click on the attendance tab. Step 2, you would click on the attendance follow-up there in the middle of the screen. And then over at number 3, you would click on add follow-up, and it's automatically going to put in a blank one there. You would select the date. You would select what kind of follow-up it is. Maybe it's the 1 hour attendance concern. Maybe they have multiple unexcused and you're following up. You would select that in the drop-down menu, put the staff that's doing it, the day that you've completed it, and then in your notes, make sure that you've written, here you can see that Heather wrote that she spoke with mom. She said that she forgot to call him in sick today. That was for the 1 hour attendance concern. And then for multiple unexcused, Heather went ahead and did an attendance plan and a home visit with mom about some of their attendance issues. So this is where you're going to be needing to put those 1 hour attendance concern follow-ups if you're a teacher, and then probably the multiple unexcused follow-ups will be done by an FDS. And then this is something new also. So you will have a copy of this in your pre-service packet. We updated this so you can see for the COVID explanation, there's a second drop-down menu that says COVID-19. If a child is absent due to the child or anyone in their household having a positive COVID-19 test, suspect of having COVID-19 and need to quarantine, or they have had a positive COVID-19 and are, or have had a COVID-19 test and are waiting for their results to find out if they're positive or not. Or maybe the parent is concerned about COVID and they're choosing not to send their child to class that day. Remember that staff must report to the health coordinator immediately if any positive tests occur in any child within our program. And then here at the top, you will see under the present off-site, that an explanation for that. This is how we're going to track our virtual distance learning children. So if the child is in participation in their class dojo or their Ready Rosie or their Zoom with their teacher, the teacher is going to go in and mark them as present off-site. So here's how you would find that under the attendance dropdown, where you would have selected present if they were in school. There's an option that says present off-site. So during COVID-19, attendance follow-up. To ensure the health and safety of our staff and children, any staff member that's answering the phone should ask a few questions about a child's illness when the parent or guardian calls them to report them as being absent in the morning. So just do the quick follow-up with them. Is this COVID related? Does your child have any of these following symptoms? Or are you keeping your child home because they've been exposed to somebody who's had a positive COVID-19 test? Those are things that we need to just track because we'll need to know that that child would potentially be out for 14 days. So I went ahead and put these in as slides, but you have the copy of our attendance procedures in your pre-service handout. I'm not going to go ahead and read these for you, but I wanted to put them in here and let you know that you have a copy of this in your handout. So these are our procedures for our 1 hour attendance follow-up if we've had no contact with the family and the child did not show up for class. And this one is for our early Head Start. I apologize, we don't have full day anymore, but this is for our early Head Start classrooms. And then this is for our second unexplained absence, the procedure that it's pretty much the family development specialists that follow up with this. Just want to remind you all that as far as attendance, when children are getting close to that 85% and or falling below that, I'm going to need you to let me know. I don't automatically send out letters. You have to let me know who is falling below, and I can send a letter to the family and work with them on some of their attendance issues. We do have 334 slots in our program, and I can't remember everybody. So if you notice that somebody's falling below, FDS will be doing reports, weekly checking attendance. So they'll let me know, and then I can send a letter to the family about their attendance issues. This is part of what is in our parent handbook, letting the parents know that when there's some chronic absenteeism, what we're going to do to follow up with them. And again, I'm not going to read it all for you. It's all in your handout. But just kind of in conclusion, I want everyone to feel like that you have an important role to play within our program and within parent engagement, whether maybe you're even a bus driver or a cook and you're not really having a lot of interaction with the kids constantly, but you're having some great interactions with kids and families, and you have an important role to play. We need everybody to make our team successful, and just want to say thank you. Then if you have any questions about any of the attendance things, you can go ahead and give me an email or give me a call here at central office. So, all right. Thanks, everybody.